We're going to be looking at electrical conductivity within ionic compounds. Now, a substance can conduct electricity if it contains charged particles such as ions, and if these particles they're able to move around freely. An ionic compound can conduct electricity when it's either in the molten state or in the aqueous form. That is, it's dissolved in a solvent or dissolved in water to form a solution. Now, in the molten or in the aqueous state, the ions, they're free to move from place to place, as I said earlier. However, in the solid state, these ions, they're not free to move around. So ionic compounds cannot conduct electricity in the solid state because their ions are held in a fixed position and they cannot move. In the solid state, they are known as insulators. Now, here's a 6 marker. It says, discuss why seawater conducts electricity, but pure water does not. Now, in order to answer this question, what I want you to do is consider the following. First of all, focus on your keywords. We're looking at electricity, conducts, and pure water versus seawater. Now, the first question to consider is, what does seawater contain that pure water doesn't? Pause the video, think about this, write this down. Now, if you need a bit of help, you can refer to the diagram below. In the diagram below, you have a solution of a salt. This salt is potassium chloride. Seawater, it also contains a salt. However, instead, it is sodium chloride. The next thing that I want you to consider is what kind of compound is water? It's an ionic substance or a covalent substance. Are there ions present in water? Pause the video, think about it, and write your thoughts down. Finally, another question. It says, what does seawater contain that can carry a charge? Now, looking in the diagram below, I want you to observe and I want you to tell what seawater would contain that can carry a charge. Now, if you're able to answer these questions, you should be able to discuss why seawater conducts electricity, but pure water does not. Now, if you mention any of the following points, you're on your way to scoring 6 marks for this question. Seawater contains sodium chloride, sodium ion, and chloride ion. Pure water contains no ions other than hydrogen ion and hydroxide ion. The sodium ion and chloride ion are free to move around. Free ions, they can carry a charge. Seawater contains more ions than fresh water. So this is why seawater conducts electricity, but pure water does not. Here's another exam question for you to consider. You could be asked to create an experiment to test whether seawater is a better conductor than fresh water. Now, using the list of equipment on the screen, I want you to create a method. You can use the diagram to the side to help you. Now, before you begin, I want you to make a prediction. Predict whether seawater is a better conductor than fresh water. Then after that, using the list of equipment, create a method for testing this. Now, in creating your method, you should be considering the following. The objective. What are you trying to find out? If seawater is a better conductor than fresh water. Keywords. Go back to the question and try to pick out the keywords in the question that was given. Your prediction. What do you think will happen? Which substance is a better conductor? The equipment list. what is it that you need to conduct this practical? Now, once you have figured these things out, using the diagram to help you, I want you to create a method. Write the steps that you will take during the practical. And there are some things that you need to consider when writing your method. Your precaution. What will you do to keep safe during the practical? If you were doing this in the lab, what would you need to do to keep safe? Then you also need to consider your variables. Your independent variable. What will you change each time you do this experiment? Your dependent variable. What data will you collect at the end of this experiment? And your control variables. What things will you keep the same to ensure that your experiment is a fair one? Okay, scientists, you should be finished with creating your method. Pause the video, have a look at my method, and make your improvements where necessary.